again, we hear frequently from finance leaders, we have more than enough data. But when you arrive and you look into have those conversations and you realize there's certain numbers that just aren't available, well, why not? We should have these, shouldn't we? Shouldn't this be part of our discussion today during this go-to-market or whatever it might be related to? Why don't we have that? Oh, the data is not quite where it needs to be. So here you are, ERP, huge system. That's a big deal. You're bringing that in, but yet the data lagging behind, and where there's steps that you took. And again, we're here, you're tracking. You keep on saying we're tracking these things. Well, how can you track it if the data's no? Can you relate anything to what I just shared?
Yeah, in most of the cases, and not just for PG Forsta, just in general, is you said it's right. Data is usually there. It's just not reconciled or presented in the right way or analyzed in the right way. And the key is to at the beginning, to try to be just very practical and opportunistic. And sometimes depends on for what you're using the data. You don't need to be, and the finance tries always to be 100% accurate. And sometimes the trend or the statistical number can be as powerful as the extremely accurate revenue number. And that's what, at PG Forsta we did. So, with the FP&A team, and we invested a lot in FP&A, it's right from the day one, is, defined how you can produce as much information as possible, but the right information to help the business, like we described, set the right strategy and make the right decisions. And in certain cases, admit that the information is not 100% accurate, but it's good enough to track and to make decisions. If you always aim to the 100% accuracy, you will be very slow and probably you fail. Sometimes the 80% is sufficient. Yeah. And, it's a joke, but I always like to say the information might be not 100% accurate, but, if you track in a consistent way, the trend is right.
We always like to ask our guests to reflect a little on the personal side. We're wondering if there's something a lot of your colleagues might not know about you, something from your past, something, I don't know, you lived on 3 continents. I'm sure there are lots of different experiences that you've had that many people don't know, but what, anything come to mind, something that, something interesting about your life. And
I mean, what most of my peers probably don't know that, I really like fishing is one of my hobbies. And I love fly fishing.
Fly?
Yeah, fly fishing. And that's are the moments, when you have the type of jobs, you're always looking for the hobby or the time when you can forget your day-to-day responsibilities. Doesn't happen too often. But when I have the opportunity to go out to a river, or if in the sea, I'm in Long Island, New York, you go fishing in the sea. It's not fly fishing, but it's fishing. So the moments where almost, it takes me half an hour and then I really almost forget my job. And on fly fishing, it's just fly fishing. What I like is, getting prepared for the day. Do you have your equipment in place? How does the day look like? How does the nature look or is where you're going fishing, where you didn't go there for the first time? And you need to get ready properly so you have a funny day fishing and you're just always looking for the right equipment, or realizing you forgot something at home, because fly fishing means walking, a lot of walking. You walk.
It's solitary in some way, though, isn't it? I mean, it's very often you get that space, I imagine.
Yeah, you can do this with people afterwards, but usually you do this solitary, because if you have too many people, the fish will swim away. Especially when you start making jokes and laughing and drinking.
Do fly fishermen, do they mostly all make their own flies, or what is the?
Yeah, no, I'm not at that level of enthusiastic.
Okay.
I buy my flights. As a CFO, I can afford buying the flights. And they're very nice. I don't have to do it. Right. But what I like is really then, almost like, being prepared. And then when you catch your first fish, and it can be a very small trout, doesn't matter. it's almost you're winning. It's almost like a sport, like almost, yeah, I caught you. That's what I love to do. And people, when they see me day to day in the office, being active, talking, helping to make the right decisions, they will not realize that Clemente can be a very solitary person on a weekend and trying to catch a trout somewhere.
Just one last quick question just crossed my mind. Did you fly fish in Europe as much as you do in the U.S., or was it always with you?
I learned fly fishing when I was working in Europe as a European CFO for, I think I started for Silicon Graphics because, in England, fly fishing is very popular because they have a lot of rivers.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife, she gave me like a birthday present, the first rod. And she said that I think this is a good sport for you. And then
She knew you
later
well.
on, I spent a lot of time fishing in England. And then later on, because I'm from Argentina, I started also to go to Argentina, to the Patagonias for fishing. That's, a good CFO is, should wake up in the morning and think about, how can I help the business? And helping the business doesn't mean to tell them where they missed the number, they exceeded the number. So how can you provide the information, how you can surprise the business with your new analytics and trends that helps us to make the company more successful, whatever it means. In our case, it's growth. And like in any company should be aiming growth. But how to make it happen, and that's very important through a proper budget process, strategy model for the next 5 years. Communicating this back to the investors, shifting capital in the right areas. But these are the day-to-day goal, or in my opinion, responsibility for CFO is how can you help your business partners?
Clemente Cohen, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
Thank you very much.